You're listening to Swingology, a lifestyle podcast. Swingology is for adult entertainment only, and we're not licensed professionals. Our show features adult themes, language, and descriptions of sexual acts and desires. If you're under 18, this is not the show for you. The ideas and opinions expressed are those of the speaker only and not of any company or entity, and should not be considered professional advice. Now, let's stimulate your mind. We are your hosts, Tori Kist.
And Steve Kist.
And today we're going to be talking about swinger parties. And the reason why today we're talking about swinger parties is because we realized that there's many swingers out there that might just meet for dates and go home. They may never have been to a swinger party and they have no idea what to expect. So we're going to talk about the different types of swinger parties and our experiences there and a little bit of etiquette of what you should be experiencing and or giving.
Right, exactly. So obviously the very first one would be house party.
House party.
And the most common house party to have would probably be the pool party. Pool parties generally start in the daytime, and they go as long as the host wants it to go on. So that might be the end time is dinner, it might be the end time is midnight, it might be the end time is 2 a.m. or what have you. The rules, the boundaries, that usually is established by the host couple. So for example, they might advertise it as a topless pool party or a full nude pool party. You don't see too many of those. They might give the pool party a theme.
Yeah, so I went to a pool party at a beautiful, rich mansion and met some wonderful people. We started off wearing our swimsuits, and then as we were getting our drink on and our friendships vibing, we started taking off our tops, and it was a topless pool party. And then the evening came, and we ordered some pizzas, and it became, more spicy.
So yeah, don't expect like the moment you get there that things are going to be happening. Could that happen? Sure.
Yeah, most house parties of all the different types that we're going to be talking about today are BYOB, and it's always nice to bring a snack to share. Another type of house party is the costume party. I follow this Instagram page, and I don't remember what they're called, or I will let you guys know, but they have these reels, and they have house parties with different themes, and couples come through their front door dancing to this music and in their theme. So like the rainbow party, and each couple is a color of the rainbow, and so they're wearing the color, or maybe it's opposite gender, so the guy's wearing the girl's clothes and the girl's wearing the guy's clothes, and so they walk in the front door. All these different couples come in at separate times, and it's hilarious to watch these reels.
I think it's important to note that type of party that you're talking about was for vanilla people, and so some people in the swinger community or in the lifestyle community in general might have an issue with their photo being taken or being posted anywhere. If the host is taking photos or doing any of that kind of stuff, just let them know, like, hey, listen, we appreciate that that's what you're doing here, but we don't want our photo put anywhere. And, if they then do it, of course, that's a violation of trust, and then you need to take that up with them directly.
I mean, yeah, obviously, we're going to be respectful. Everyone here in the lifestyle should be respectful and ask for pictures first.
Another kind of party, which I also like, are game nights. So there will be a host, they'll get a group of people together, and you'll play a game or two. And usually the games are involved in the lifestyle in some way. So like they'll go to Spencer's or wherever and pick up a naughty little game, and it'll start out usually by asking questions or Pictionary or something along those lines, where you're kind of interacting and you're teaming up with other people. And then as the night goes on, as the game progresses, it starts getting into like more touchy categories, like, okay, well, now you have to kiss a person of your choosing or what have you. So I do like those parties, because especially when you don't know anyone there, because that's a great way to break barriers.
Yeah, and meeting new people. And I think one of my husband's low-key favorite house parties to throw at our home is movie nights.
So I like movie nights for newbie-ish couples that don't have a lot of experience in the lifestyle,
but are open to learn.
But are open to it. And so what we'll do is we'll throw on like a sexy little kind of maybe like a rom-com or something comedy, something where it's like uplifting and fun and happy. And then what you'll do is you'll throw like a blanket across everyone's lap on the couch, right?
One big blanket.
And then so, what's going on underneath the blanket. No one knows what's going on. And then so during the movie, at the first 10 or 15 minutes, I'm going to lean my head over and like, is this okay that if I touch you on your thigh right there? And then, of course, hopefully she'll be like, yes, of course, absolutely. And then as the movie night goes on, of course, my fingers get a little bit closer to her inner thigh. And then, of course, she starts feeling a certain kind of way. And then perhaps my wife is doing the same thing to the other partner. And before you know it, we're not really finishing the movie anymore. But that's also a great way to break the touch barrier and not to be like in your face about what's going on, because a lot of times couples, they want to participate, but they're thinking like, okay, what happens first, and then what happens after that, and what happens like if I do it wrong, or if I'm not touching enough people, or how am I supposed to do this and do that, and how am I supposed to get into these positions that I see online, and I don't know how to do any of that. And it's like, you're thinking way too much about it. You're all up in your head, and it's just, let it be organic. Like anytime you have relations with your partner, it's like an organic experience. It just, one thing leads to another, and then you're kind of in it. No one's trying to do a play-by-play game plan. Now, I will say there are some people in the lifestyle who do the play-by-play thing.
What do you mean play-by-play?
So it's generally a husband, and it's generally like, okay, now I want you to touch her on her left breast.
So he's dictating.
Yeah, so he's dictating what's happening. And I don't particularly care for those types of environments.
I would be a brat.
Yeah, you would turn into a brat real quick.
You would tell me what to do.
Yeah, make me, and then you'd have to put you in your place.
Nope.
But anyway, so yeah, I don't typically enjoy those environments. People generally are not comfortable in those kind of environments when there's someone saying, okay, now I want you to do this, and then now I want you to do that, and now I want you to do this. When I found that the people that do that are typically doing it to protect something. They're not fully ready to be in a whatever happens kind of scenario, and doing it this way gives them a sort of sense of control, and they feel safer. They feel safer. They feel the ability to turn things on and off.
You know what, Steve? If I knew that's the place they were coming from, I wouldn't turn into a brat. I would comply because I want them to be comfortable. But it all depends. If they're being a dictator, like demanding, that's a no-no. But if they're like open and they're like, I'm nervous, can I be the one in control? Absolutely. Thank you for telling me that. Tell me what to do. I am your play doll. Another house party type that we're going to touch base on today is the sleepover, where the whole idea is, and our sleepovers that we've gone to are typically like 2 hours away, so like it's hard to come home right afterwards.
Generally, people arrive in the evening, sometime after dinner. People bring finger food and drinks. But the idea is that people are drinking and they get a little intoxicated. And because of that, and the hosts have the space and the ability to house all these people, they listen, we want everyone to have a good time. We want everyone to have fun. And so because of that, we want everyone to be able to stay here and be safe while you're intoxicated. So this is going to be a sleepover party.
The idea is not to watch a movie necessarily or to play a game. The purpose is to vibe. There's music. There's probably lights, colored lights on the ceiling. And you're just having a good time with like-minded swingers.
Right. And so it's usually you're spending time to get to know people and that kind of stuff. And then people will peel off and enter designated spaces at the host's house where they're allowed to engage in sexual activity.
You love these types of parties, Steve. You even have a play bag that you bring. Can you tell us what's in your play bag?
So, yeah, whenever we go to these types of parties, I have this play bag, and it's got different types of toys in it. It's got female, feminine wash. And so sometimes, if we're going to touch on this topic, you meet someone at a party, and they've been standing and walking around for a while, and then you notice, they have this little odor to them. But I really like their vibe. But you know what? The best way to get around that is like, listen, you know what I find very sexy is if we went and took a shower together. You want to go suds each other up in the shower before we start playing? And then they would be like, yeah, that sounds like a great idea. And so you turn what could be an awkward thing into a sexy pre-game, so to speak. You have the condoms with you if they need condoms. Mouthwash is definitely in the play bag.
Various types of
Mints,
condoms.
Gum.
Because people have allergies.
Right. Some people have latex allergies, so have the different types of condoms. And then some people say, you're the host of the party. You should have condoms available for us to use.
No,
okay.
If you want to play, you need to bring your coverage.
Some hosts will, yeah. But obviously, if it's a concern that you have, you should also bring your own. Don't expect other people to have something that you want them to have. Sleepover parties, I generally like because you could have more intimate experiences with someone. And it generally, like, I don't know, I like the idea of being in a room with another person's spouse and having like one-on-one sexual connection and sexual energy with that person, and then maybe another person joins in at some point, and then afterwards there's like a little cuddle session, like a cuddle puddle, and you can't usually feel comfortable to have cuddle puddles or after sessions or, let's play a second time if people have a deadline, like, okay, we have to be out of here by 11. And so, you arrive at 8, there's drinks, there's mingling, there's sex, and then, we got to get dressed, we have to leave now.
This is true. And I love, one of the things I love about sleepovers is also that, like, we can share lingerie. So we can, like, I'll try on yours, you try on mine, let's take some pictures. Okay, now it's your turn, let me try on yours. And you can see the different lingerie types on your body and see what you like. That's one fun thing. But I wanted to mention, hosting a house party does not guarantee that you're going to get action. We went to a house party once a few years back, and I wasn't really vibing with anyone, so Steve and I went to one of the playrooms to, get it on. And the host male came up and watched us and started taking off his pants. He never even
flirted.
There
was no consent.
There was no talking to me,
there was
really.
no questions. There was no asking. He just assumed, because he was the host,
exactly,
that he was just going to jump in and start playing.
And so I looked nervously at Steve, and I was like, how do I say no thank you? And he was like, just say that. No thank you. I'm not interested.
Yep, that's it. So obviously, when you're with a group of people that you don't know and you're in these kinds of environments, you have to be very comfortable with being able to speak up for yourself and just say no thank you.
Use your words. Definitely. Your words. Don't be afraid to let someone down. Just don't be mean. Just say no thank you. Saying something like maybe later is not the same thing, because they're going to think, okay, later. But if you say no thank you and then later on you do, going up to them and flirting and asking, that's how you would overcome that. Right.
And then so sometimes people, and you hear this a lot, may I join you? And then they'll say, where is your wife? Which is difficult. So in that situation, I know that they're interested in me playing, but it has to be an equal opportunity play situation. So if I want to play, I need to go find my wife and see if she's interested in playing, and so we can all play together.
Okay, so let's talk about swinger clubs and swinger resorts, the difference between what those are and the type of parties that they have. So swinger resorts, there's international swinger resorts and there's domestic swinger resorts, and then there's a handful of swinger clubs all over the United States. A swinger resort is going to have rooms that you can stay the night in. A swinger club is just that. It's like a nightclub. Many of them have playrooms, many of them serve food, maybe there's a buffet, and there's swinger resorts. Well, the international ones that Steve and I have been to, they have restaurants on site. Some of them have playrooms, some of them don't have playrooms. Some of them, they expect you to play in your room alone, not in a general open playroom. What do you want to touch base on when it comes to these two, the difference between those two?
For me, the difference between a swinger club and a swinger resort is in a resort, you have your own room that you have rented for the night or for the weekend. And at a club, they might have private rooms that you can temporarily use, but it's generally, they might have a playroom. And then there might be a few LS clubs out there where they've got a dance floor, they've got food, but there's nowhere to play on site. You have to go find your play action somewhere else. And of course, there's different types. So I know, like in the state of Florida, there's the resorts, there are the clubs, and then there's people have money in Florida. So there are places where there's like a huge ranch and it's their private property, and they publicly advertise that you can come to this private property and engage in swinger or lifestyle activities on site. You have a donation, you get in, they have pools, they might have little mini bars, they might have spas or hot tubs.
An event like that is going to be advertised on a swinger website like SDC, and it's not going to be open every single day. It's going to be probably like quarterly, and they'll let you know if you get in. Like, there's going to be a limited number of parking, so they're going to say, okay, we're going to limit to 150 cars. So we'll give you a number, and if you don't come, then you miss out, but we're not going to give more than 150 spots out. Something like that is what we've experienced.
And then there's some couples that open their houses and they say, listen, our house is a lifestyle establishment Friday, Saturday, and Sunday night.
Right.
So they will say it's open to the public. There are donations, or sometimes their donations get pretty clear, like, okay, your donation is to bring 2 bottles of alcohol. I saw one, like, you have to bring a 50-pound bag of dog food.
Wow.
Like, that was the donation.
Those ones aren't exactly swinger resorts or clubs. That's kind of like a swinger club hybrid house party.
It's a club hybrid house party.
All right, so let's talk about swinger resort and or swinger club themes that we've been to. Example, the glow party. That is one of the most popular themes I think that there is. The glow party. Everyone loves glowing. It's just fun. And getting that sexy neon lingerie and or body paint. Oh my gosh, Steve, do you like body paint?
Okay, so a lot of people love body paint. I don't care for it because when it comes time to engage in physical play, it gets so messy real fast. Now, some people like that. They like the neon messiness and it gets all over the bed and it gets all over whatever. And then they like to take a picture with the neon lights on and like, this is the disaster after we were done playing. But I don't know. It's kind of like a novelty kind of a thing. Like if you do it, it's like, okay, now this paint is getting into your private areas, and maybe that's not the best thing. They also have white parties, like togas, or wear anything that's white dresses, white shoes, white hats, white underwear, steampunk, 80s, 90s parties.
You don't have to have expensive lingerie. I get most of my pieces from Amazon, and they're not that expensive, but they look phenomenal. And when you're just strutting your stuff around the swinger club, just dancing and enjoying yourself with the other sexy ladies or sexy men, it's just so fun and it builds your self-confidence.
Another aspect is like, okay, well, I don't have anything that glows, or I don't have 80s attire, or I don't have lingerie, so maybe I shouldn't go. No, they would rather you be there in regular clothing than not be there, right? The idea is that you're interacting and being social with other people. You do not have to go in theme unless the party specifically says you must be in theme.
You know what? That's one of the differences between swinger clubs and vanilla clubs. Vanilla clubs, you have to dress up, dress to impress. No sneakers allowed unless they're super white and clean. No denim allowed. Women must wear, fancy clothes. The swinger clubs, we're more relaxed. We give you the option for themes, but as long as there was that couple that would come to the country club and they didn't swing. They came in regular clothes all the time, but they had a bubbly personality and they were always talking to people, meeting people, and they were in theme.
They were a regular fixture at the club, and everyone at the club kind of knew that they were the couple that didn't physically play with other people, but they would go for the parties. They would live it up. They would drink. They would see other people doing crazy sexual things. They would people watch and be like, oh my gosh, they're so tipsy, or look at that drama unfold. And they would just love the environment and they loved being there, and it was so energetic, and you never knew what was going to happen the next time, and people would be having sex on the pool lawn chairs or what have you. So
we had the opportunity to connect with them. And they were going to the club because it would spice up their love life. They would see all these experiences and then they would go home and have these amazing either conversations or their own special fireworks.
When we go to the country club and there's a theme that we don't like, generally we'll just go in some sexy attire or just go in lingerie, because lingerie is like the default, okay, you look good.
Or a mini club dress.
And no one really cares that you're not in theme because you look amazing in that outfit.
Although we've gone in regular shorts and a t-shirt, and that's fine. Let's talk about Halloween. Steve and I don't understand, and we would love to know from our listeners, what is the intrigue about the Halloween theme when it comes to swinger parties? They are dark and bloody and evil clowns, and to us, that's not sexy.
There's nothing sexy about that at all,
in our opinion. So we want to know from the listeners, do you like Halloween swinger parties? What about it is intriguing and turning you on? Or does it not turn you on? It's just fun to dress up. Let us know, because I'm not getting it, and I want to understand.
I know it's about the fun for the people, and people are dressed in all these gory costumes, but like when I'm at the country club, there's always the possibility of you never know what could happen. Play could be involved, but never on Halloween, because that's the most time I'm ever turned off in my entire life. People will be looking gory and open wounds and oozing or just like zombies, and I'm like, there is nothing attractive about how you look right now, and I am not about to get turned on.
I'm not going to be writing Freddy Krueger. Sorry, that's not going to happen.
So I can't, in my brain can't merge the two. They're very separate entities and they will always be separate for me.
But hey, you do you and educate. That's what we're trying to do. So let us know if you're into that. Why? Let us know, because we're not hating. Everyone has something out there. It's just not our cup of tea. Another type of party that you will experience if you go to a swinger resort or swinger club is the takeover. Now, takeovers don't happen all the time, so you definitely want to take a look at the calendar of events of the place you're going to see if a takeover is happening. But it's normally when a lifestyle party company comes through and takes over the entire place with their own theme, their own DJ, their own parties, their own party props. And there's normally a following of other swingers in that community that go to their parties. They might travel just to go because that lifestyle company is taking over that club.
With these groups come lots of people, and so sometimes people kind of take away from the experience. Like if you've got 20,000 options in front of you and you're trying to get to know people before you enter into a intimate experience, it's loud, it's noisy, sometimes it's standing room only. You're trying to yell at other people to talk to other people because maybe the host has their music too loud, or there's so many people you can't get to know anyone because everyone's distracted by meeting new people. And so at these events, what we have learned for us specifically is go to the events, do quick 10, 15, 20-minute little networks, get their name and contact information. That way you can meet up and schedule to meet up with them afterward sometime outside of the event.
Yeah, takeovers are really good for meeting new people, but actual play, it's going to be harder to tack down the couple that you have your eyes on. Last summer, I started a YouTube channel, and if you want to see my review, it's called Tamprotic. It's a new company that's taking over different hotels. Go to YouTube, search Tori Kist, go to my channel, and it's Tamprotic. A weekend to remember. And it was our first Tamprotic takeover that we've been to. We hosted a room crawl, in which we'll talk about what that is in that video and on future episodes. And it's our experience, so you can see what it's like. They had a ton of people there. It was busy, but we've been to some takeovers where, like Steve said, it's standing room only. Like you're going between these different rooms and you're meeting these new people, and you go to the club and it's different type of music but in the club versus maybe outside of the club. And there's just so many options. It's almost overwhelming. And so the last takeover that we went to, it was not Tamprotic, it was someone else. I was so overwhelmed, I had to leave. I just left. I was exhausted. The crowd just was too much for me. And that was kind of sad because I wanted to have a great time. I looked forward to that one, but oh well. Do you want to talk about the large props and the themes, like those giant mushrooms?
Yeah, so sometimes the takeover groups will come with their own themes and they'll decorate. So they'll have, like, maybe there'll be a big inflatable mushroom, for example, and inside the inflatable mushroom will be a camera. And so couples will go into the inflatable mushroom and there'll be a camera there, and they'll take, like a selfie booth, so to speak. Sometimes these events will have a 360 movie camera shot where the camera circles the couple 3 or 4 times and they're doing like a little dance jig. Sometimes they'll have like a very good laser light display set up.
It's fun to wear the theme outfits if you're going to a takeover, because they have these picture booths and these props you could take pictures with.
You know what? You're looking for a no stress. You're not looking for people to be all like having sexual crazy experiences everywhere. Those are called meet and greets. So meet and greets can be at someone's house, or it could be at a location, like at a private bar or at a club somewhere. And sometimes they'll turn it into a speakeasy, which means no one from the public can go in unless you know what's going on in there. And so there'll be like a code word, and then the door will open and you'll be allowed to go in, and everyone inside the public that would be a public bar for that night is only there for the swinging or the lifestyle
meet and greet.
And so everyone there is part of the lifestyle, even though it's a public bar or it's a public club or what have you. What happens at meet and greets is you don't have to dress any kind of way. You don't have to meet anyone else's standards. You don't have to, you still have etiquette, which means consent is a thing. Don't touch other people without their consent. And then there's obviously generally drinks there, so people can have alcoholic beverages.
That's the type of place that they have their own bar, so it's not a BYOB. It's a public place typically, but it's locked down for the night, like he said, with a special word. And you're normally on a list, so you're going to find these places like on SDC or Cassidy, and go to the events area of that. SLS. Go to the events section of those pages, see what events are happening, and they're called meet and greets. And they have themes too. And I'm a little feel embarrassed to dress up in the themes because they're at a public place that's just taken over for the night. So there's other public places around it. So I like dressing up in theme and sexy lingerie and stuff when I go to a swinger club because it's always a swinger club. You're not going to have any of the public there, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, you're going to have like-minded people there. But like an ABC party, anything but clothing, I would be embarrassed to walk through a public
parking lot to get to this establishment.
To get to it.
One thing that is difficult is you might agree to meet with a couple for dinner somewhere and then they don't show up. You know, for our first year in the lifestyle, that's what we did. We would talk to people online. We would agree to meet with them at a dinner. And then more than half the time, they never showed up. And that's very frustrating. But instead, what you would do is go to one of these meet and greets and then have that same couple that you were going to meet for a private dinner meet you there. And if they don't show up, that's fine, because you know what? Other people that you don't know are going to be there, and you'll still have an opportunity to meet people that are in the lifestyle.
That's a fantastic idea. The final type of swinger party that I wanted to talk about on today's episode is the travel groups. And we have traveled with a swinger travel group. They normally go to an international location, but it doesn't have to be. It can be domestic. And they are hosting that trip. So you're traveling with everyone within like their travel group, and they have their own party themes in addition to the party themes that swinger resort offers. So you have two different options there. And you have a sense of community because everyone is traveling together with that travel group.
So imagine you have a group of friends, like let's say you have 8 or 10 friends, and then you meet on a routine basis, and then 3 or 4 times a year, you all agree to go, you know what, now we're going to go meet at that lifestyle resort over there in Florida. Now we're going to go meet at that lifestyle resort in Nevada. Now we're going to go to Hito in Jamaica. And so you just go with the same comfortable group of people that you know, and sometimes they invite a new couple and a new couple's coming along with your group or that kind of thing, but you're comfortable. That's the main idea.
That is traveling with your friends, but I was talking more like, I'm not going to name drop. I'm going to edit that one out. For example, they had their own speaker and microphone that they brought to the pool. And during that time, the pool staff, you know, they took their break and took over the pool party. They had their own set of game. One of my favorite things about the travel group is that the travel group that we have traveled with in the past is that they look for safeties. They look to see who can they invite in the swinger community to their travel group. And so they have a doctor that travels with them, because if you get sick, or again, in my case, I got an ear infection, internationally going to the doctor, that's kind of hard to do or expensive to do. And so in my case, I got an ear infection from swimming, and there was a doctor, they had ear drops, they gave it to me. And then, because if I had gone on the airplane with this ear infection, it possibly could have damaged my hearing.
Or it certainly would have hurt it at the very least.
Yeah. So travel groups, they have their benefits. So keep in mind, if you wanted to go to a location, check to see if there's a group going there. You could join in on their parties.
Mm-hmm. So one thing I want to talk about, doesn't matter what party you go to or what style or that kind of thing, there's always a certain level of etiquette that is expected. And so let's talk about etiquette. Some house parties are going to be a donation required. Some house parties are going to be invite only. And so let's say it's an invite only party and a host couple invited you to go, but you don't know anyone that's going to that party except for the host couple. And the host couple, when they're hosting, can't always play because they're busy hosting. And so if they're busy hosting the whole time and they can't participate in the play and you don't know anyone else there, that means that limits your play ability options unless you do vibe with someone there. And so you might feel more comfortable inviting a couple that you know to go with. Don't just invite that couple to go to the host's party because you know them. You need to go to the host and be like, hey, listen, we would love to come. We would feel more comfortable if we could invite our friends. And then if nothing else, we can entertain ourselves at your location. And then leave it up to the host to decide if they can tack on another 2 people to the party. Because usually it's not about, oh, no, your people can't come because of whatever excuse. It's usually about, okay, well, we're approaching a maximum head count and I just can't bring on more people. That's usually the only reason why hosts don't just open it up to the mass public. It's like, listen, we're already at 10 people. There's only 1 bedroom. I'm not feeling like we should be including more people. We just don't have the space. If you don't know what to bring, generally either bring a finger dish or a bottle of alcohol that you like, or a couple mixers, and that's usually good enough. If you have condom requirements, bring your own condoms. If you have a specific kind of lube that you only use, bring that.
Bring an open mind.
Yeah, be open. And so if it's a sleepover, make sure you have what you need for the morning after, or if you need to bring your pillow, or, we've gotten into the habit of, if we're going to a sleepover event, we just bring our inflate mattress just in case. Because I don't know how many times, we've been at someone else's sleepover and they had more people there than they anticipated. And they weren't prepared for, some people are sleeping on the couch, some people are trying to sleep on the floor. And it's like, listen, we've got an air mattress in our truck. We always keep it there. So we're going to bust that out. And at least 3 people or 4 people can sleep on this thing. Love, sometimes you arrive at someone's house and you're not sure if you can go in their fridge or not. How do you navigate that?
Well, what I do when I first get to someone's house that I've never been to is I ask for a house tour. If they don't immediately offer a tour of the house, I say, okay, so when is the house tour? I have to see, this house is beautiful. And that initiates that in them, okay, let me show you around. And then when I get to certain rooms, I'll ask questions. Okay, well, am I allowed to put my stuff in your closet? Am I allowed to open your fridge? Do you have cups that you want me to use, or can I use the glasses in the cupboard? What are your house rules, so I don't break any of them, for one, and so I can be more efficient later on when I'm vibing with people. I can just know, this is what we can do, this is what we can do, this is what we can't do.
That's a great way to do it. I like your idea of asking for the house tour and then asking questions during the tour.
The last party that we went to, I think it was about 2 weeks ago, I did that. I asked for the house tour, and my friend who knew the host said, oh, I want to go on that. They knew the host. They've been there before, but they never had a house tour, and they wanted to go on the house tour too. So it's just another fun thing that...
I remember going on a house tour, and the husband gave you a tour, and you started off because you saw the pool and you fixated on the pool. And so he started giving you a tour of the pool. And then I was asking the wife, I was like, okay, where can I put all this stuff? Because I walked into the house where all the stuff. And she's like, oh, let me start your tour over here. And so we went to the bedroom. All right. She started the tour of the bedroom. And then they had a huge bathroom and a walk-in closet. And when we went into the walk-in closet, we kind of got a little touchy in there for a little bit, and then we put a pause on that and then went back and finished the tour.
Definitely want to know what the house rules are when you go to a house party. You don't want to be that couple that ends up in the kids' bedroom by accident, thinking that was the playroom, and it's...
Oh, right. I remember that. Oh, my gosh.
Okay, what? Tell me. What do you remember?
So it was that party that you're talking about. We were at a party, and then the one couple walked into the room that was supposed to be kept closed, and they utilized the room, and they were like, oh, my God. So that is my kids' room. No one was supposed to play in there. And then the couple was like, oh, my gosh, I'm so sorry, blah, blah, blah. All the other beds were taken at the time.
That's why it's a good idea to have that caution tape and put it completely across, like a big X on the doors that you don't want people to go in.
I remember talking to the host couple. I'm like, kinda is on you guys. Yes, you did have the door closed, but you didn't seal it off. You didn't give them a tour because you were busy, serving food or drinks or whatever you were doing at the time. And they just kind of walked in, and someone else told them where to put their stuff. And then now they're here at the house, and no one gave them the rules. So. And
then what do? We pivot. We don't stay there or angry or embarrassed. We laugh it off, close up the door, take her stuff out, right, and pivot and move on, because there's no reason in holding a grudge on something like that.
Now, what you could do, and especially for those couples that maybe they forgot to bring something or they didn't bring anything, the party might end at 2, or maybe it's a sleepover and ends the next day. When that party is done, that host couple has a tremendous amount of cleaning to do. What would be a great thank you to that host couple before you leave is to help them pick up the drinks, the bottles. Sometimes there's condom wrappers and all these other things that are like, ew, or, oh, this is such a mess. But, as a thank you, you can help clean up a little bit before you leave.
Yes, absolutely. So I have a question for you, Steve, and then I would like to answer my own question.
Okay.
My question for you is, of the party types that we talked about, what is your favorite type and what is your not favorite? What is your least favorite type?
Okay. My favorite type, without a doubt, hands down, are sleepover parties. People can have fun. They can drink and feel relaxed in a safe environment. And you have plenty of time to vibe break barriers, have fun, take a break, have more fun, take another break, have more fun. And so there's no time limit, and no one's trying to rush, and no one's trying to leave at a certain moment. So these kinds of parties are my favorite. My least favorite party, I guess my least favorite might be Halloween, honestly. The one where you have to dress up with, whatever Halloween costume you've got. And it could be at a house party. It could be at a resort or at the club or wherever. How about you, love? What is your favorite kind of house party?
It's my turn. My favorite type of swinger party would be staying at a swinger resort. And the themes might be something like glow night or back to school night or lingerie night or 90s night. I don't like 70s parties, but 90s night, something fun and poppy and positive and, cheerful. That's my favorite type, because if I'm at a swinger resort, there's like 200 rooms I can go in, plus there's a nightclub, plus some of these places have restaurants, plus there's a mega pool, and there's the club with music, there's the pool with music, there's everyone's room. And if you've been around the block a few times, you bring your own music, so everyone's, people's rooms have their own vibe. There's so many people to vibe with. You walk around, and we call them love laps. We walk around all the different rooms, meeting people, sharing, just vibes.
Okay.
And
So I want to clarify what she's talking about with love laps is there's a specific swinger resort where all the rooms at this resort are privately owned, and they're privately themed and privately decorated. So you've got one room that looks like it's like a 007 room. Everything's all like high class. You've got one room where it's like a Nassau room. There's an anime room. There's a mermaid room. There's a pirate room with pirate booty.
There's a Star Wars room, and there's a big window. You can see inside the window if the windows are not closed. And people are just having parties, and it's just so fun. Like, if ADHD, if I have that's why I love it, because there's different and different and different and different, and what are we doing next? This is fun. Let's keep going. So that's my favorite.
when you're in these rooms, some people, of course, go to this resort, they book their room, and they keep their room closed, they keep their windows closed. They might mingle outside of the room, but inside the room is their safe space, right? And then some people will keep their door open, invite other people in to mingle. They'll offer drinks out of their room, shots, mixers, that kind of stuff, food, Jello shots. And then if you get a little group of people going from room to room to room, that would be called an organized room crawl. And so the hosts will stay in the room, and they'll host other people as they filter in and out of their room and get to know people.
Exactly. And that's why that's my favorite, is because I can go back to the room when I might be overwhelmed. I can close up the door, close up the window, and I have my safe space to just relax and come back to,
recenter yourself.
Recenter myself. Exactly. And I don't have to be around people. Like, if I'm going to a house party, it's not my house. I don't necessarily have a safe place unless I go out to the car. But if I'm wearing lingerie, I don't want to walk outside. So I might be kind of trapped in that house. But with a resort, if I have that room, I can escape to my room for a time and then re-enter the party after I've catched my breath. Now, my least favorite of these options that we named off, we have house parties, swinger resorts, swinger clubs, meet and greets, travel companies. My least favorite would be the meet and greet, because I love meeting people when I'm in the party, because you never know what's going to happen, and you can sometimes spontaneously be sexual. But at the meet and greets, you can't do that. And so it's almost like a tease to me. Like, I'm here, I'm meeting people, but I can't really do anything. And I'm embarrassed to wear the lingerie in the public place because it's a public place. So I'm embarrassed to dress up in theme. I guess I feel awkward. You know that movie Talladega Nights, and the guy just picks his hands up all the time because he's awkward? That's what I feel like at meet and greets. So you won't find Tori at very many of those, but not to say that you won't.
Right. And again, some people, especially when they're starting out, they're like, listen, we really want to have an intimate experience. And so they like, what do we need to do? Where do we need to go? How do we need to meet people to have intimate experiences? And those types of people, they have, it sucks to say it, but they have a physical agenda. They have an agenda. They want to have an intimate experience. They don't know with who, they don't know with how. And you can come across that way. Like, listen, we're here to vibe and have an experience. But if you, again, I've said it before, if you can learn early on to not try to go to have your agenda fulfilled and go just to make friends, you'll be more successful and you'll have a better time overall at the end of the day.
Steve, I know that you like to give our listeners a bit of homework every now and then. Do you have any homework assignments?
For the new couples out there that haven't had any experiences yet, or maybe they're thinking about having experiences, what I want you to do is go to, it depends on where you're listening. If you're listening from the California area in that side of the country,
West Coast.
Yep. I want you to go to Cassidy.com. If you're in the eastern side of the country, I want you to go to either SLS or SDC.
SLS or SDC.
Yep. And then create a couple's profile. And then you can review, after you've created your profile, the events that are in your area. Pick an event that you both might want to try out. Maybe it's a meet and greet somewhere. And then go.
That's great. Now, do those websites cost money?
Well, usually you can create a profile for free, right? And then it's usually the communication aspect where, like, if you're going to try to communicate with another couple, then it starts to cost money.
So you can see other couples. It's kind of like a Facebook or a profile type thing.
Yeah, and so some of them can get kind of elaborate. They'll say, on this particular website, they'll say, are you into bi play? And of course, my wife would say, yes, I'm into bi play. What is your experience level swinging? Beginner, no experience, very experienced. And they'll start to ask, and some websites will ask you, okay, what are you looking for? So they'll say, soft swap, full swap. We're looking for, cuckold. We're looking for, and we can go into the terminology later, but it can get pretty elaborate. And that way you don't have to, you'll look at someone's profile. You'll know exactly what they're about. You'll know exactly what they're looking for and what they're interested in. And if they're good about creating their profile, they have already established their boundaries. And so you don't need to send messages and ask them a bunch of questions if you're interested or not. You kind of already know, like, okay, this is an experienced couple. They have few boundaries. They're not going to meet people for places of dinner. They're going to meet people at lifestyle places. So
I do want to include, if you're going to create a profile, include a picture of both the man and the female, not just the female. And you don't have to include your faces, chop off the faces. But there are so many. This is my least favorite thing about swinger websites, is that there's so many profiles of pictures for couples, but it's just the female and not the male. So when I was new and Steve was asking, well, do you like them? He'd scroll through the pictures to try to find a picture of the guy, and there was no picture of the guy.
Or there was 35 pictures of the girl and one picture of, like, half the guy or something. It would be really weird. Like, listen, like, I get that the lifestyle sometimes can be female focused, but if it's a couple's profile, damn, let's have some pictures of both of y'all on there.
That's for the newbies. And do you have any homework assignments or ideas for the experienced swingers?
All right. If you're an experienced swinger couple, I want you to host your own party.
Ooh,
find a way to host your own party.
Airbnb, maybe hotel party?
If you can't host it at your own house, find an Airbnb that will let you host a party at their location and host your own party. Come up with your own theme, come up with your own boundaries, have that communication with your spouse.
It's really fun.
And then invite people in your local area. Maybe it's just friends. Maybe you make it public. Maybe you require a donation. Go through all your options, make it comfortable for you, and make it happen.
And then if you create your profile and you're new, or if you decide to throw your first house party, let us know. Like, we want to hear your stories. Reach out to us. You can reach out to us through the show notes from the podcast, or going to Facebook, our Swingology, a lifestyle podcast page. You can message us there, or Instagram. You can message me there too. All right, guys. We hope you've enjoyed your day listening to Swingology, a lifestyle podcast. We will see you next time. Remember to stimulate your mind. Thank you so much for listening to Swingology. I'm truly honored to have you as a listener. If you liked what you've heard, consider subscribing to our podcast or connecting with us on social media. The links can be found with the episode show notes. This is Tori Kist, reminding you to stimulate your mind.